Welcome to the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast. My name is Katie Dodd, and I'm a nutrition entrepreneur. I spent 7 years as a side hustler before diving into entrepreneurship full time. Before making the leap, I was bringing in 6 figures through my side hustle. If I can do it, you can too. This podcast is for dietitians, interns, and students who want to be inspired to start or perfect the side hustle of their dreams. Let's do this. Hello and welcome to the 237th episode of the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast, Wealth Greater Than Money. Now, I just realized as I was hitting record that I do not have my mic that I use for podcasting. So right now this is recording on my computer. So I guess we're going to see how good the sound quality is for my computer. Because I'm like, I don't got time to restart and go find my mic. We're just going to keep going. So I hope that you guys are having an amazing week. Thank you for listening to the podcast. I actually came up with the idea for this episode when I was getting ready this morning. And, you know, it's still January at the time of me recording this. I think when this episode goes live, it will be February. But, you know, I'm kind of knee deep in like creating vision boards and scheming and dreaming and coming up with my goals for the year. And I was kind of reflecting back on some of the goals that I used to have. Now, on this podcast, I was sharing income reports for the first 3 years of my side hustle, and every year I had this goal with what I want to achieve, and I will say at one point I was like, my goal is to be a millionaire. Spoiler alert, I am not a millionaire yet, but one thing I realized is that's no longer a goal I have for right now, for the season that I'm in. Now, I do have big crazy goals for later, but I think of wealth and I think of money, and I think there's wealth that's so much greater than money, right? And when I look back at the income goals that I used to set, and of course money's not bad, and I think there's a lot of good things that can come from lots of money and all those things, but you know, I'm kind of glad that I took that whole millionaire goal off of my list, because I'm not going to lie. I feel like when I was doing my side hustle income reports, I would set these crazy audacious goals and then I'd exceed it. I'd set a crazy audacious goal and I'd meet it. And I think I said on the podcast, like, I'm going to be a millionaire. And I will tell you guys, there's a bit of me that's like, oh, I didn't do it. Am I a failure? And I'm like, heck no, I'm not a failure, because the wealth that I have in my life right now is so much more than $1 million. So that's what was kind of on my mind, and that's why I want to talk about what wealth looks like to us and how there's this wealth that's so much greater than money that entrepreneurship and business and side hustling can provide us. So I also want to give a little sneak peek. I was thinking about my income reports. The last 3 years I have not shared them. There's a reason behind that, but I'm actually thinking of bringing them back for the podcast, of doing an episode where I share my income reports for my first 3 years of being a full-time entrepreneur. So spoiler alert, that will be coming soon, and I'm excited for it. So when I look at the wealth that I have right now, even though it's not in terms of cash in the bank, I have 3 things to me right now that are so much greater than money. Number 1 is peace. Now, I look back on my personal journey the last, probably 5, if 15, maybe even 20 years. And I will say that I had a lot of years where I didn't have peace. A lot of years where I had a lot of distress. A lot of years where I felt a lot of inner turmoil. And right now, I have so much peace in my life. Like true, real peace. I'm a journaler, and I was journaling the other day, and I was really noting on how much, like, I feel very zen right now in my life. How unhurried I feel. How calm, how go with the flow, how almost like anti-anxiety, because I was living in anxiety for so long. And this peace, it feels so good. Now, of course I have enough money to pay my bills. I am doing just fine. But to me, having this peace and contentment and happiness in my life is so much greater than $1 in the bank. The other thing that I have, and the wealth that I think really is greater than all things, is the gift of time. I've talked about this on the podcast, that money is replenishable. We could always make more money. Money comes, money goes. But time is something that we can't get back. And I think for me, the older I've gotten, having children, it just changes my perspective on things. The greatest wealth that I have right now as a full-time entrepreneur is I get to be present with my kids. My son is 14, my daughter is 9, and I get to be with them. I get to be with them in the mornings. I get to be with them when they get home from school. My daughter's got a field trip next week at the Rock Museum, and I get to go with her. I don't have to think about taking time off work. And I will tell you, one of my biggest stressors when I was working at the VA was my leave balances. And let's be honest, working at the VA, if you're very familiar with it, they have very generous leave. I had vacation, federal holidays, and sick leave. But it was still a stressor because, I had these tiny humans, they got sick, and I always would worry about like, gosh, okay, if I go on leave, I only have so much time, and what if this like interferes with my sick leave, and what if my kids get sick, and then I need to take my annual leave? And it was just always this source of stress for me. And, one of the big reasons that I left my job, of course, was to be present with my kids and to have time with them. And I think of that now, and I'm like, how lucky am I? How blessed am I that I built a business where I get to serve people, help people. I love what I do. And I get to be present with my kids. And it's not all sunshine and roses. I mean, any parent knows that, right? But I wouldn't trade it for anything. I wouldn't trade it for anything. So again, I'm recording this in January, and I won a business mastermind with my coach. And what that means is, you guys know I'm an affiliate for all kinds of things. And about a year and a half ago, I was a affiliate for the Invincible Challenge. It's actually going on right now. My business coach, Greg Todd, frequently does this event, and I love it. It's 5 days of momentum, dreaming, scheming, showing people what's possible in business. And I am always an affiliate for this event, and I bring people on board. I've got bonuses. I'm coaching people, building them up, supporting them, providing additional calls. I'm doing it right now, so it's all fresh in my brain. But he was doing for a while where his affiliates. So if you brought people into the challenge, you could win prizes. And there was a top prize for the top 3 affiliates, and that was a bonus retreat. So it was a business mastermind retreat that you could win. You have to pay for your airfare to get there, but then it's like free board, he feeds you, and you like level up in business. Fabulous. I actually won one, was it 2 years ago now? I say I have time, but time's still flying. I'm like, what have I been doing with my life? But I actually won one in Georgia. And so I went to Blue Ridge, Georgia, and I brought my son Gavin with me. And it was really cool because he got to be in the room and got to absorb all this entrepreneurship stuff. And so, anyways, going back to a year and a half, he was doing this Invincible Challenge, and I actually was really busy. I wasn't planning to promote this event. But then my business coach Greg sent me a voice message saying, Katie, the prize that you're going to win if you're one of the top 3 affiliates is that you're going to come to Florida. And you can bring Gavin, and I'll bring him out on the boat and the jet ski. And I played that voice message to Gavin, and Gavin's like, Mom, you have to win. Now, I hadn't even promoted this challenge. It was a week before the challenge, but you know what? I wasn't about to let Gavin Dodd down. So I started promoting, and I ended up being like the number 3 affiliate, which meant I got a spot. Now, this, due to like construction reasons, Greg was building a townhouse. The actual retreat itself got pushed back to this January, so January 2025. A year and a half after we won it, we finally got to meet in person. But it was so cool because I was able to bring Gavin with me. This was, the actual event itself was on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And how cool that I could bring my son with me to Florida for this event, and I didn't have to worry about leave. I didn't have to worry about time off. Now, because I brought my son, my daughter's like, hold up, Mom, what about me? And so my daughter and I are going on a trip too. We did this last time. And actually our trip's going to be very similar because last time when Gavin and I went to Georgia, Emily and I went to Las Vegas. And you might be thinking like, what? Bringing a little kid to Vegas? Let me tell you, there are so many fun things to do for kids in Vegas, and we had a blast. We stayed at Circus Hotel. They have an indoor amusement park, midway games, an outdoor like little water park, and pools, and that girl was living her best life sipping virgin pina coladas poolside. And we also went and saw Katy Perry, so that was very fun. So with this time, Emily's like, okay, Mom, I want to go back to Vegas. So in a couple of weeks, Emily and I are going to Vegas. We're going to be there on a Thursday through a Monday. And again, I think what a blessing that I get to take time off work well, time off work. I get to choose how to manage my schedule, and I don't have to worry about requesting leave and hoping that I get permission, because I literally just booked this trip 2 days ago. I was very excited about it. I was able to use my United flight points because I travel so much for business. Got us free flights to Vegas. Because I stay in hotels sometimes for business, I've gotten quite a few points. So I actually was able to get us 2 free nights in a hotel in Vegas. Now we're still staying at Circus in Vegas. Any adults who are familiar with that hotel, it's okay. Like, honestly, it's like maybe it's not high end is what I'm saying, but kids love it. So I'm like, okay, Emily, let's do it. So we're staying 2 nights in Circus, 2 nights in another one. And I was so excited because I'm like, this is a really affordable vacation. And there's, again, so many fun things to do for kids in Vegas. If you guys have questions, reach out. I will share because I have lists and lists of things to do. So anyways, I'm going completely on a tangent, but coming back to this whole idea of a wealth greater than money, a wealth greater than $1 million in the bank. Because you know what? I could always hustle, grind, work 24/7 and probably have more money in the bank. But I'm more grateful for the moments that I have with my kids, that I'm able to spend with them. And I will say the last wealth for me that's greater than money, it kind of ties in with the first one, peace, but it's joy. So peace, time, and joy. And I have so much joy in my life. I am so grateful for this life I get to live. And I said this before, but I'm grateful that I get to serve you guys. Whether you're in my programs or not, I get to serve you guys. I get to help build up other people. I get to help them in business. I get to do things that I love. Yesterday, actually, I was speaking to some students. I was teaching them about nutrition at end of life. You know, I get to do so many fun things, and I just sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, I'm like, I can't believe I get paid to do what I do, because like, this is fun. and so I have joy in my life. I am happy. I am content. I am so many things that money can't buy. So I have some notes. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything here that I said. I already talked about how money will come and go. Let's see. Oh, I wrote this down. I don't even know if this fits the flow, but I'll just mention it. So I mentioned the Invincible Challenge a couple times, and currently it is going on right now. And one of the things that my business coach said during the challenge was, he's like, okay, guys, what's the number one rule of business? And I was actually scratching my head because I'm like, I don't know. I've been in his world for a while. I feel like I should know the number one rule of business. But I didn't know. No one knew, so I didn't feel too bad. But he said the number one rule of business is stay in business. The number one rule of business is stay in business. And even when I was at that retreat I mentioned a couple weeks ago in Florida, the one that I won, one of the big things and messages I walked away from was like, stay in the game. Life is full of ups and downs. The economy is full of ups and downs. Business is full of ups and downs. But we have to stay in the game. And so coming back to this idea of, you know, maybe you're like me and you've set these goals of like, I want to make X amount of dollars, and maybe that hasn't happened. But look about your wins, right? Look at the things that you have accomplished. Look at what does wealth look like to you? Because wealth isn't just money. Sometimes the most wealthy people in the world, it's not about money. It's about relationships. It's about, again, that joy in their heart and the time that they get to have with those that they love. So as we are dreaming and scheming about business, side hustles, all the things, don't forget to add other things beyond money. It's about your life. Like, you know, I want to create a business that gives me passive income so that way I can be present with those that I love. I can help and serve people, but I don't always have to trade time for money. I have built a business that gives me peace and joy, and I didn't create a business because I thought I have to do this business to make money, but I hate it. We see that sometimes. People build businesses that become jobs and they hate it just as much as their job. But just knowing that, like, it's more than money. Peace, joy, time. So I would encourage you guys to just think about what's most valuable to you. When you think of being the most wealthy person in the world, does that mean you sitting with, 100 million, sitting with $1 million in the bank? Or does it look like you sitting with the people you love the most? in the places you love the most, doing the things that you love the most. I am so grateful that we live in a day and age that we can build businesses from home on our phones with the World Wide Web, make massive impact and help people because we are helpers. We're healthcare professionals and we by nature are helpers. We just want to help people. And the fact that we can do this and build a dream life. Now, if you're not there yet, if you're like, I am not living my dream life yet, Katie, that's okay. It is possible. So as you build that dream life, or as you are living that dream life, just really focus on what is most important to me, what is most important in my life, and it's not always dollars. It's not always money. Of course, you got to stay in business and you got to pay those bills because that does cause stress. If you can't pay your bills, you're going to have a lot of stress and you probably won't have peace. But you can find that balance where you've built a life and a business that you love. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. I hope that that was helpful for you guys. If you want to learn more about all the ways we could work together, go to katiedodd.com. That is my Linktree page. You'll see different events that I'm doing, different affiliate partner events, all kinds of stuff on there. Go check it out. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast, and I'll see you all next week. Bye, guys.